Thank you for your patience with us this morning. We're here to discuss the expansion of our CORE's reporting to extend to hate crimes. To begin, we're going to have Chief Michael Moore, followed by Assistant Chief Blake Chow, followed by the Director of Policy Discrimination Enforcement, Jumana Silian Saba. Any questions will be after Jumana Silian Saba, and individual interviews will be following the question and answer period. Thank you.
County News, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Los Angeles Police Department, our headquarters. Giovanna, I want to further identify her as our third speaker as the Director of Policy, Discrimination, and Enforcement. She's actually with the Civil and Human Rights and Equity Department of the City of Los Angeles. I partner with LAPD as well as other city departments in our pursuit of ensuring an inclusive city, one that protects the rights and the individuality and the respectful manner in which we should go about our lives. And Giovanna, thank you for being here. You're an important partner, and your presence here today speaks of our collective effort here. The Community Online Reporting System, commonly is known as CORES. So again, it stands, the acronym is Community Online Reporting System. It was actually created in 2016 as an effort to be both more efficient with the use of limited police resources, as well as to serve a community need that was asking us, why is it that as a community member I need to go to a station or I must call 911, which, a line that's often overloaded with non-emergency calls, to report a simple theft, to report a matter of minor vandalism. And in that embarkment, then under the leadership of Chief Charlie Beck, the program was established. The benefits of the program was, again, it allows for low-level crimes that have little or no investigative value for an individual to make that, as a community member, make that report, bring that to our attention so the department can be aware of these instances and see how they cluster and concentrate, hotspots, if you will, to understand emerging problems, challenges that may become more serious if left unaddressed. Simultaneously, it gave the community member a report that oftentimes an in-person investigation would be delayed for months, if not longer. By going to the Community Online Reporting System, the vendor of this that provides this service to us would actually provide that report to the community members. For insurance purposes, typically was the case. In the first year of its operation, some 1,300 reports were made, which was a significant number. Over the years, when the department, as we leaned into and began learning how that system would actually operate, we found that there was value, particularly in a time where in the last 4 years, we have lost more than 1,100 of our sworn rank and file. We've seen more than a loss of more than 350 of our civilian professional work staff. That the response times to these type of offenses and other like offenses were being extended longer and longer, further and further. So over the last 7 years, we have expanded the number of other reports. And now some 22 various types of crime reports are being captured. The largest increase was in the area of traffic collisions, involving minor collisions, not involving significant injury or death, not involving significant investigative clues as to the persons responsible. Last year, more than 130,000 reports are now being collected. What that has allowed us to do is serve a community need that is asking for access to this department so that they can take care of their personal needs when they're a victim of a minor crime, as well as allow the department to optimize its resources, its finite resources, so that we can respond to the more serious and pressing matters, including hate crimes, which we know are increasing year after year. This last year, a 14% increase in hate crimes, but a 38% increase in hate instances. So in 2023, after years of back-to-back years of seeing the increase of hate crimes, particularly in the African American, particularly in the AAPI, LGBTQ+, and the Jewish communities, we heard through a series of chief forums. These are forums that I host as the chief of police with support of my command staff in our local areas with various stakeholders that are represented here today. And let me thank each organization. And for the sake of time, we'll have the list available for you. And they're also, as said earlier, will be available to speak with you, to give on camera and individual interviews. And they're anxious to do so. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. But we began, and as we're meeting with them, we heard clearly that with the lengthening response times and the inconvenience of the current or then current obligation that on a hate incident, this is a activity that is hate speech. This could be a remark, an epithet of a hand signal or something with a verbal account, not amounting to a crime, but a matter that we want to know about, directed by a person's sexual orientation, their identity of their race or gender or ethnicity. The policy in 2023 required for a uniformed officer to be dispatched to the scene and a supervisor, identical to the way in which we conduct hate crime investigations. The challenge is that with the lengthening response times, that people attempting to report a non-crime but significant matter that concerned them, creates fear and apprehension in those communities, was taking at times hours for us to reach because of limited resources, because of more pressing matters, meaning crimes of violence that were in progress or serious crimes that had just occurred. So the community asked for the ability to report online this, and we were concerned about that because we did not want a posture to be viewed as we're lessening this department or this city's concern about there's no place for hate in Los Angeles. But at the same time, what we've learned as an organization is that policing is best when it's identified by the community as to how it wants policing done and the strategies in which policing can best serve their needs. And so the suggestion or the recommendation, the request for us to add to our online reporting system hate instances it found a footing. It found, in my view, a rationale that I felt, if adopted by all the communities of Los Angeles, would be a path forward. We happen to be at a Chiefs Forum in West Bureau in Koreatown. At the time, our outreach engagement was to the AAPI community this last April. And at that meeting, then Deputy Chief Blake Chow, who was the commanding officer of Operations West Bureau, and he was hosting this meeting in support of our efforts, I said, Blake, this is yours. We've got a lot of energy here with the AAPI community, and I'd already heard from our Jewish Federation, our ADL partners, and others within the Jewish community that there was support for this. And we know that LGBTQ, those communities also have concerns about having to wait and being viewed as this as being an effort to block them from giving access to our work. I'm proud of his leadership as well as the leadership of the Office of Operations with Assistant Chief Robert Marino, who his back office actually runs the community online reporting system, as well as the technical support of Deputy Chief John McMahon in Information Technology Bureau, who's represented here today by Monique Turner and Sandy Russell, and the IT folks, as I said in the room over there, often unappreciated, unrecognized, and behind the scenes. They worked it all together, and they knitted together to this expansion. And that program is now in place in concert with working with these communities to go back and say, here's what we think we heard. Does this fit? I'm happy to report that today, the report went live at the first of this year. We're already receiving instances of report of hate, and we're continuing to gather that information. And the benefit of that can't be more clearer than to recognize the last 4 years, where we see in each of the communities I've mentioned, advocacies that see many more instances of hate being reported to them than to the department. We know that as much as crime is underreported, the instances of hate are as well. And we hope and look to this avenue as an added way for people to have access to their public law enforcement agency to convey these instances. Secondly, we've also seen in this period of time, short period of time, that people are attempting to report hate crimes via this technology. And we're asking everyone that if you're a victim of a hate crime, to call us. We want to respond. We ask for your patience. This is a priority call, and it is one that we will dispatch with our pre-existing policy which is a unit, a patrol unit, as well as a supervisor, and a follow-up investigation on that will be done within 10 business days. The handling of hate instances going forward will continue to be the responsibilities of Detective Bureau, which is overseen now by our Chief of Detectives, Alan Hamilton, a familiar face for those that have seen him as the commanding officer these last few years in Operations Valley Bureau under the leadership of now Assistant Chief Blake Chow. So they'll oversee the overall program, working with robbery homicide to understand the interplay between hate instances and hate crimes. And then lastly, the geographic areas will receive each of these hate instances for awareness for the senior leads, for the area commanding officers, for others to understand the frequency and are there particular hotspots, commercial engagements or locations that are drawing the frequency of this hate speech and these instances that don't amount to a crime, but we fear can escalate to an act of violence and danger to a community. Lastly, I'm going to introduce again my appreciation to Assistant Chief Blake Chow for his leadership and help in knitting this together for us with our community. But also he's going to talk about the next steps in regards to, we recognize this announcement today is one aspect, it's an important one, but we have more work to do here for awareness and Assistant Chief Chow is going to give you information and details as to how that will work. Assistant Chief Chow.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Blake Chow, B-L-A-K-E-C-H-O-W, Assistant Chief, Office of Special Operations. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you, Chief, and thank you to our community partners here who've really been friends and partners to us for many, many, many years. And unfortunately, hate is such an ugly word, but unfortunately it is an ugly part of our society and has been for quite a while, because as we know statistically and as we know from talking to community members that over the last several years, hate crimes and hate incidents remain one of the most concerning problems that really faces this community. And I can't underscore enough, thanks to Chief Moore's leadership, this unveiling today is groundbreaking, because we're one of the few agencies and one of the only large ones that I know of that actually are going to allow community members to file hate incident reports actually online. Some don't even take hate incident reports, but this department, being in the forefront, is actually launching this and really putting ourselves up at the top. But hate incidents and hate crimes have been a plague in our society for a while. And why is that? If you look back, you look at a political environment over the last several years that we've come out of that actually have emboldened hate groups to act out against individuals. Social media has played a role that, again, emboldened people to come out and express hate towards other community members, whether that be an incident or a hate crime. And then we've had some worldwide events. COVID for the AAPI community was a big factor in the increase in hate incidents and hate crimes. And now we have conflicts in the rest of the world that are resulting in increases. So the chief went over some statistics. Between 2022 2023, our hate crimes are up 15%. But anti-Semitic hate crimes are up 51%, and anti-Muslim, anti-Arab hate crimes are up 140%. Since the conflict began in October, anti-Semitic hate crimes are up 190%, and anti-Muslim, anti-Arab hate crimes are up 850%. So what can we do as a society? Number one, we have to come together as a society like we're doing right here. We have to make sure we have a united message about the intolerance that we all have for the hate incidents and hate crimes. And that's got to be pushed out through society. Number one. Number two, we need to educate our young people, because I tell you what, people are not born with hate. They learn it somewhere. So the education that we can have either through our schools and our families or with our friends to get to our young people to understand the implications of feeding into this hate is something important. And then the third piece is arrest and accountability, where we have the ability to identify people that are actually committing hate crimes, working with our DA and our city attorney and making sure we're holding people accountable, because that sends a message too. But the thing is that with the core system for reporting hate incidents really has been a long time in coming, because we've been underreported for many years. And why is it? Number one, the chief alluded to people don't want to wait for the police to show up to report a hate incident. There were victims out there that may not trust the police and don't want to talk to a police officer. And then there's people that see things out there that think, well, nothing's going to be done anyway, so why should I call? Or people are busy. And the list goes on. This CORS reporting system is just another tool that we're offering the community that's going to fit, that will potentially help to fix that. What I wanted to really make sure that you understood, that this is a system that was designed with the community in mind, because the community is going to be the users. And it's a system that was designed with input from the community and working groups, and it was designed for the community. So as we worked with the community in designing this, we asked them, okay, how should the system look? If someone's logging in, what should it look like? And what should the wording as far as the identification of a hate incident, or what is a hate crime? How do we put that wording into, non-police jargon and kind of, so the community member can look at it and understand what we're talking about? And then, which I'll talk about a little bit later, how can we develop what we call the trusted community reporter that's going to actually multiply what you're going to see today? So after a few months, you have it. It's been unveiled. Again, it's a system that was designed for the community and was designed actually by the community, because we heard them and we worked together to come up with a solution. And it's another system that I think will allow us to understand what is happening in our communities, so that our area captains can respond to increased hate incidents. Because if you don't have the data, you don't know what's going on. And so people can do that now with one click of a keystroke. So the way to get on the system, they go to lapdonline.org, and you click File a Report. It'll either be in English and Spanish. And if you click one of those, you click that link, you'll see, they'll be able to go see the different types of reports that can be filed. And now we've added hate incident reports. One thing I wanted to talk about was just kind of the next steps. One of the things that came out of these conversations with the community was, hey, how can we help you report? So at some point in time, pretty soon, we're going to develop some training for what we call the trusted community reporter. And this is actually a term that was coined by our community members. That's going to be community members that are part of these organizations that are standing to my right and my left. They're going to be trained specifically how to file those reports for somebody that doesn't want to go on the computer to file it themselves. If you play around with the system, you'll see that you can indicate, I'm filing a report for somebody, and talk about who you are. Because again, that's just going to give us another layer of making sure we're getting as much data as we can about things that are happening in our community. So that will be available for questions a little bit later, but I wanted to introduce our next speaker, Jomana Silin Saba. She's a partner of ours with the city, and I think she has a few words to.
Thanks. Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to start by thanking the LAPD leadership, Chief Moore, Chief Chow, for their partnership and for their steadfast commitment to ensure that hate has no place in our city. Everyone in Los Angeles deserves to live with dignity and safety in their neighborhoods, businesses, and places of worship. The online hate reporting available through the LAPD website is an intentional effort to make sure that reporting of hate incidents is easily accessible to everyone. Whether you choose to report through the LAPD website portal or by calling the city's 311 or 211 LA County for non-emergency reports, your reports are critically important. No door is the wrong door when it comes to reporting hate incidents and hate crimes. Your reports will not only help us to improve our response, as you heard from both Chief Moore and Chief Chow, but it will also give us the ability to prevent and to bring about the needed resources to support those who are impacted, those who are victimized in our impacted communities, as we heard earlier with the increased numbers of hate crimes and hate incidents impacting us here in Los Angeles. I want to reiterate something that both Chief Moore and Chief Chow noted, and that is the significance and the importance of the partnership that we have with our communities. not only collectively as a city body and a city agency, but our work would not be possible without the partnerships. And so I want to thank and acknowledge everyone here. I want to thank and acknowledge the community members and community organizations who contributed significantly to the development of the hate reporting system. Together, we can ensure that Los Angeles is a place where everyone belongs. For more information and additional resources, please visit laisforeveryone.com. Again, that is laisforeveryone.com. Thank you.